I have some questions. I have the top 10 questions that people have asked me about driver's education. Let's go ahead and get it. Have I ever been in a crash? I have been in a crash before. It was not our fault. We were rear ended by a driver who was going too fast and was not paying attention. So we got rear ended. We had to file a police report. Our backs were a little bit sore, but everyone was okay. The biggest thing I can tell you about crashes, pay attention, leave room in your car, and make sure you have time. Next, do you enjoy teaching driver's education? I really do enjoy teaching driver's education because I'm making a positive good in the world. And when you make a positive good in the world, you get blessed in so many different ways. Yesterday, I was looking through, reading some letters from students. We appreciate what you've done. You really have impacted my son or daughter's life. And that's very rewarding when you get a chance to help someone learn how to drive and you see them 6 months, a year later. It's super exciting. Next question. What is the most difficult? What is most difficult for adults to learn? I think as you get more busy with your life, driving kind of becomes secondary unless you're driving to work every day, you're driving to school every day. We all are creatures of habit. I'm a creature of habit. I enjoy teaching driver's ed. I have a job. I come home. I do the driver's ed, and then I teach classes. And then on the weekend, I drive, and then I make content. So we all get in a routine. I think if you're an adult, 18 and up, you want to really make time for driver's ed. Make time to learn how to drive. Make time to learn the best driving fundamentals. And then when you're ready to take your test, you take your test. Next question. How do car drivers have anxiety? Anxiety is caused by a lot of aggressive drivers, people who are not considerate, tailgating, cutting you off, not using a blinker, kind of squeezing in and pushing you out of the lane. A lot of drivers who have really, and I'm not against big vehicles, a lot of drivers who have huge vehicles who aren't really paying attention, and then they kind of bully push you out of the way. And vehicles are getting bigger, trucks are getting bigger, cars are getting bigger. I think you have to get out there and practice consistently driving in a neighborhood, making 8 to 10 right turns, 8 to 10 left turns. Then from there, you're working on parking, you're working on your speed control. That is super important. And then once you feel consistent, you want to go take your test. You have to be masterful at parking. You can't run yellow lights. You need to know the rules, four-way stops. You need to know speed limits and school zones, neighborhoods. You need to be able to merge on the expressway. There's so many other things. I can't get into it right now. Next, why do we have aggressive drivers? I think people wait too long. You're going to drive faster if you're running late. And if you run late, you're going to end up making mistakes. Get it? And if you make mistakes, that could cause an accident. You got to leave time for yourself to get to work, to come back home. The number one reason why people speed is because they are running late. And if you run late, you're going to run lights, you're going to cut off people, you're going to disregard speed limits in neighborhoods. And this is where that aggressive driving comes in. And this is where you're going to end up making huge mistakes and possibly take a life. And no one wants that. Next, parents must have more time. Parents don't take the time. What I see right now, the last 16 to 22 months, and this is COVID, post COVID, parents are not taking the time to teach their son and daughter proper fundamentals. We've had calls, hey, would you be willing to drive a 17-year-old, an 18-year-old? You need your hours, you need 30 hours of supervised driving in order to get into segment two. If you're not taking the time to have 30 hours of driving, then you won't be mastering certain things. It does take a lot of time to learn how to drive. You can't just jump into a car. Yes, there are some gifted students or adults or teens can just jump in the car and they can drive. But have you been in downtown traffic? No. Have you been in fog? No. Have you been in rain? No. Have you been in heavy congested traffic where it's bumper to bumper? I'm talking about leaving downtown Detroit, downtown Chicago, Houston, California. Each of these venues has different uh, assets and liabilities that you as a driver have to be able to deal with and stay calm. Why don't teens want to drive? I think it's because of Uber and Lyft, and mom and dad are not putting pressure on you to say, hey, you need to learn how to drive. We are tired of carting you around. We are tired of taking you to school, taking you to basketball practice. You have to make the time. It's a very personal situation. You can't rush someone to say, hey, we need you to drive right now. It has to be the right time. Um, Sometimes I've seen teens that are immature. I've had parents, oh, they're immature. If you're 17 taking driver's ed, what is going on? Most kids want to take it at 14.9, 15, 15.5. As you go up 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, you get ready to approach college. You should have a job and you have to work. So everyone's story is a little bit different, but you don't want to put pressure on yourself. You want to take your time. Okay, next question. What is the best age to learn how to drive? There is no best age to learn how to drive. The best time is now. As soon as you're at a legal age, drive. Um, get enrolled in a class. If you wait till you're 18, which is fine, if you wait till you're 18 and you go to the DMV, you get your temporary instruction permit where you can drive with someone 21 or over. You're not going to have the experience of driving a year and a half or 2 years under your belt. And most 18-year-olds are out of high school. They're into community college. You got to be able to drive back and forth to college. Uber and Lyft are expensive. And over a month, that's $100. That's $175. You want to be able to control when you come home. What if your professor says, okay, we're going to have a study session after class. The study session is from 6:30 to 7:30. And then you know your parents come pick you up. Well, you can't miss that college study session. You're trying to pass your college class. So there are going to come times where you're going to have that aha moment. My mom and dad can't keep taking me to school or to work or to my friend's house because you're becoming an unnecessary burden. I want to make it clear. Our parents do love us, but you don't want to keep putting that pressure on your mom and dad. They come home at 5:30 or 6. They're tired. They cook dinner, or they bring home dinner, and then you're calling, Mom, can you come get me? Dad, can you come get me? So you're going to hit that point. Usually it's 17, 19, 20. I've driven 23-year-old students too. So everyone has a different story, but I'm not here to judge. I'm here to give you support and love. So you want to get your license as soon as possible. What is the next question? Do people drive really understand how to park? I would say it's a learned behavior. I always wanted to take pride in my parking and park between the two lines, be able to parallel park, be able to angle park and stall park. Parking is huge. And where I am, if you can't parallel park, you can't reverse and back into a blind spot park, and you can't pull up to a stop line, you'll fail your road test and you won't even get on the road. So it's super important that you do that and that you understand that parking is relevant and is still important because it's a reflection on you. Imagine you're going for a job and you're pulling into the parking lot, and the next thing you know, you're parking sideways and your future boss is looking at you and saying, they can't park. So these are some of the top 10 questions that I've gotten. And look at this information, look through my content, ask more questions. And if it does bring you value, subscribe. My goal is to bring you the best content possible and for you to really connect. And I want you to do your best work. And I want to say thank you and have a great day. Bye.